Okay, look, I mean, let's say that all of your science works. What perplexes me is why I deceive. Like, who gains?
Okay, so let's look at
every time I've covered fraud, someone gains from the fraud. Okay, that's their motive. Cover up murders. They make incredible amounts of money.
So what did science defeat? What did they defeat in 1600, 1700? What did they really overtake? You tell me. You know the history. Church. Okay. So if they admitted after 200 years, oops, the Earth is not round, it's actually flat, what would be the first thing people would go back to? Do you think people would still follow science, or do you think they would go back to the church? Science would be destroyed. Science would be, it would be the worst day they could ever possibly have, admitting that they were wrong about this.
People would go back to the Bible and say, oh, look, It could be literally true now. The evidence is overwhelming that the Earth is in the center of the universe. Overwhelming.
We more believe that it's the basement of the universe. The Earth is everything, the mass that everything goes around. So then everything else above us is celestial and smaller and here for us.
We think we got real smart and figured out actually it's the opposite. And it looks like it's flat, but it's just because it's so big, it's actually curved. And it feels like it's stationary, but it's actually moving. And the sun looks like it's moving, but it's actually stationary. The sun and the moon look like they're the same size, but they're actually vastly different sizes. I don't buy into that, and I went and tested the Earth. It's not curving. Long story short, you can take flat Earth measurements and you can transform it into a globe coordinate system, and that's what they do. The way that we make measurements to the sky is with a flat Earth, and then we transform it. Like we objectively take elevation angles from a horizontal baseline of the Earth. That's how we have to measure the sky. We have to treat it like it's flat. That's how we make our measurements, and then what we do is we take those measurements and just transpose them onto a spherical assumption, applying spherical trig, right? The actual base measurements, those observations, those elevation angles, it's on a flat Earth. It's a horizontal baseline that extends out to a ground position below the star, below the planet, below the sun, and we're taking an elevation angle from the horizontal baseline. That's how we got latitudes, and then we're just transforming it over to a globe. So the actual observations fully comport with the flat Earth. We have to make the measurements as if the Earth is flat. The globe claims, well, yeah, you can treat it like it's flat, and you have to because the Earth is so big, but I promise it's not flat. It's like, okay, that's a cool story, and could it, in theory, be true? Sure, but it's definitely not exclusive to a globe. And what we're trying to point out is it's a misnomer to people that this is an actual bulletproof model and all this. No, it's been disproven. The Earth is not moving. It's in the center. We're in a giant vortex. Everything moves around us in a gigantic, magnetic field with the vortex that's been measured. And that doesn't make astrology any less beautiful. It doesn't make the sky any less beautiful. It makes it more beautiful. It's actually all this energy is right around this beautiful, special place called the Earth, and it's moving around us, super close to us. I think that astrology makes way more sense when the Earth is in this special central position. Everything's moving around it, much more local, and the sun and the moon are just light sources, energy sources in the sky, and then the planets are also energy sources. It makes more sense to me that these things can affect our life being so close to us, right? And it's just kind of crazy. If you actually step back and 99% of the population doesn't know a word of what I just said. They were told the solar system's a fact, and it's not a fact. The sun. We see in curved visual space, and we basically have little miniature domes of vision, and it's actually been proven with experiment, with robotics and stuff like that. We see in little domes. That's why when we make angle measurements to the sky, we get an azimuth grid, right? Provably, we get elevation angle measurements, and it makes a dome around us. That's what they took. They took how the sky is actually limited to how far we can see, and we made a globe with it. We claim the curve of our vision is the curve of the Earth, and that's why it works so well, because it's a real thing. So, all that to say, they hijacked our curved vision, and then they made the globe, and I think it's genius. I don't think people were malevolent. I think it took thousands of years to do it, and it kind of works. So most of the stuff is balloons. There's a couple things up there that appear to be like what they call satellites. And the equations and the physics that they use proves that the Earth is not moving. And then you would just transform the coordinate system over to a globe. No one that's making satellites are in on it. I know people personally that do it. No, none of them are lying. None of them, like,
Right.
it's just the equation that they're told to use. They don't think about it. Yeah.
So
I
they're
think
gonna
the
do
best
everything they
answer is this, okay? It is what was fought over through all of history. Land and resources. That's the number one thing fought over in all of history, okay? If you were a powerful group of people and you decided, look, we'll tell everyone else there's no more land. We'll give them a finite little distance. There's nothing else to explore. We've explored it all for you. No reason for you to go anywhere. We'll create boundaries. We won't let them freely even go from country to country, much less out to where they would see more land. Boom, there's no more land. You guys stay there. Then they have all the land, all the resources to themselves. That right there is ample motive to lie. If you're a powerful group of people, you know there's more land and resources, but you make sure everyone else doesn't know that, you're way more powerful. In fact, you can have entire different civilizations with more advanced technology, cleaner systems. They would never know anything about it. It's another big part of the reason that they lied, by the way, is there's an ether. There's an energy field that you can tap into. Tesla told us, the government came in and took all of Tesla's work, right? Like 70% of it. And Tesla said that he had figured out exactly what free energy was, how to get it. You can just tap into it directly all around. There's an ether. It's called ether physics. They threw the ether out to keep the heliocentric model. They replaced it with Einstein, who said there was no ether. And they're keeping that from us. Now imagine if everyone knew there was an ether, or the next Nikola Tesla, who's in 3rd grade and is obsessed with electrons, learns about the ether. We would have already had free energy across the world. I mean, in fact, the government does have it because Tesla already told us that he created it and they came and took it. That right there shows you why they're lying. They're lying because there's an energy field all around us that you can tap into. That we don't need fuel, we don't need electrical grids, we don't need any of that. The way that they fly their UFOs is they take advantage of that. Using electrogravitic propulsion, they know that there's an ether. Tesla said he knew how to make UFOs. The Germans said they knew how to make UFOs. Ancient Vedic text makes reference to UFOs.
What if those people got in those UFOs and went to these outer lands? They've been out there for years. They're further advanced than us, and now they're coming back and they're, observing us. And of course, the government can't let us know that, because if we ask them, where did you come from? And they say 6,000 miles that way, we go, what? That's Antarctica. No, on the other side.
Yeah, if there's more land, I mean, why wouldn't they lie? There's also the navigator William Morris, who straight up says that there's over 179 other pieces of land that are inhabited by different people that go a little taller, they have different skin colors, they typically are all like vegetarian or whatever, they have different fruits there, and that they live longer, and that there are people that know about it. They know about us. They call us the inner lands, and that there's like a little energetic dome, and that there are many of them, and then they refer to a greater dome. Now that sounds crazy. It's speculation. I don't know. It's no more speculation than someone telling me that there was inflation at the beginning of the universe that somehow allowed it to defy physics, and now everything's blah blah blah. But that is a very interesting thing. That dude was highly connected. His daughter writes about it. They claim that it's a very real thing, that there's tons of land when you go further south. I don't know if there is or not, but you would have to agree. If there was a lot more land and there was a sinister group of people that wanted to control you, which is evident that exists, if they drew a circle around you like the Hunger Games and said you can't leave your little playpen, that obviously makes them way more powerful, right? Like way more powerful, because they can monitor you, they know exactly where you're going. You've removed innovation and exploration. You just have a group of slaves sitting here consuming fuel and killing each other and eating toxins and not exploring anywhere. There's many reasons to lie. Because also, if the Earth is in the center and stationary, someone created it. Someone put it here. And when people believe in a creator, they're much harder to rule. It's much easier to rule an atheist or a nihilist because they don't think there's a purpose. When you have something to live for, you have a purpose. I don't answer to the government, I answer to God. They hid the creator. They said we were a tiny speck of dust flying in the universe randomly.
Almost every great religion in the world says this is all kind of secondary reality.
Right.
Sure.
It's kind of an illusion. It's one of the reasons I take you guys seriously, is because you're describing something
that is a facet of what has been grappled with for time immemorial.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.